I genuinely don't have a joke for the video today. I think I'm just gonna open up. Welcome back! You see the title? You see the thumbnail? My ugly ass? Today's video is gonna be about Christianity, and you're gonna be like, you weren't gonna tell me shit. How come you're gonna be the one to tell me what I can and can't believe in? Well, let me tell your ass. Now, I used to be a Christian. Not anymore. Now, I believe in God. Now, I'm a theist. I'm not atheist. I'm a theist. There's a difference. And the point of today's video is for me to basically tell you guys that religion is something that you gotta, and not just follow everything anyone says, right? And you also gotta critically think for yourself, right? So religion, basically what it wants you to do is basically follow every single thing, like by the book, basically, right? Which is what Christianity kind of is, right? But at the same time, I can't be a Christian because I can't subscribe to a lot of the values. No, for example, the Bible says that cussing and killing, they're both sins and they're both equal, right? That doesn't make any sense. We cuss every day. Almost everyone cusses. Almost everyone cusses every day. So it doesn't make sense for us to critically think like, damn, us cussing is just as bad as us killing someone. So that doesn't even make any sense. So another example is forgiveness, right? If someone does something really messed up towards us, that we gotta forgive that person. But in reality, we shouldn't forgive the person depending on what the person did to us, right? Now, this video is not to bash Christians. It is about me telling you guys that Christianity isn't the only correct answer. There are people who are atheists and there are people who are like me, who are theists. They feel like they are correct, and in reality, they kind of are. There is no right answer, you know? And there were some points that I wanted to tell you guys about why I am how I am with religion. So prayer, it doesn't work. If you're a Christian and you rely on prayer, it's cool. Prayer's really dope, you know? But at the same time, it's not gonna get you much, you know what I mean? If, for example, me, I don't really feel anything when I pray. For me, when I pray, it's just, you know, so I can't really do that. And plus, people rely too much on prayer. They believe that prayer is good. Here's the thing, prayer is good, but it's not, you shouldn't just rely on that, you know what I mean? For example, whenever you pray for someone, whenever you ask for prayer, like, prayer doesn't get you what you want. You actually going out and doing what you got to do gets you what you want. For example, I can't just put my hands together, close my eyes, and be like, I want another job, or I want a new job, or I want this, or I want that. You actually have to do the work in order for you to actually achieve what you want to do, right? You can't just do prayer. I think Christians rely too much on prayer is what I'm trying to say. For example, another thing is my ex-best friend said, oh, I don't go to church, but I'm still a Christian. It doesn't matter if you go to church, right? It matters what your beliefs are. What do you believe? What do you believe in Christianity? What do you believe when you do this, and you know what I mean, whatever. And so he would basically say, oh, I mean, I don't go to church, but I'm still a Christian, because we had the same conversation, right? And this was around the time that we cut each other off. So when people say, oh, I don't go to church or I don't do this, like, that's great, but it really matters what your beliefs are. Another thing with Christians is sometimes you can't even have fun with them, you know what I mean? I like to cuss. I like to basically have fun, you know what I mean? I like to basically be around other people who are basically me, right? I mean, as does everyone, but at the same time, if you're around a bunch of people who don't cuss, they're just kind of boring. I hate to say it, but Christians do kind of only have one personality, and that is being Christian. It's not bad, but at the same time, you just have no personality. You got to change it up. You got to be like, I like this, I like this. And there's only one person I know who I actually used to go to church with, not with, but I knew him at my church. We were cool with each other, you know what I mean? We hung out one time, and then after that, we just kind of stopped talking, which, again, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a me issue, I don't know. But there are people out there there are Christians who just are kind of boring, you know? And my grandpa did say two things. He actually brought up two things that I actually want to talk about. He says, you will never find anyone as good of a person as you will in a church. And maybe, he could be correct. Another thing he said was, when I told him that I was a theist, not atheist, like I said, he basically said Christianity makes the most sense to common sense, you know? So I told him when I based my opinions off of common sense and what I see around, I mean in a theist kind of way, you know? Maybe he's right about Christians having the same, maybe he's right. And then he also said stuff like, we also had conversations about this previously, where it all kind of ended up being the same thing, you know, how we talked about different religions on why they believe what they believe. But then I asked him, who has the right answer though? Who is the most correct? And then he's like, everyone believes that they are. And then I'm like, if everyone believes that they are the correct one, then how do I know where I align with the correct side, you know? How do I know if I'm correct? And he's like, well, we all basically believe what we believe. And I'm like, I agree, but that, who has the correct answer? And it kind of makes you ponder sometimes to yourself. And so that's why, like I said at the beginning of this video, I want people to understand that when they get into religion, they understand what they're saying, and don't just believe everything everyone tells you in that religion. For example, my father, he admits he isn't the best Christian, but at the same time he tries his best. And so with that being said, we all mess up. You know what I mean? He messes up a lot, and I mess up a lot, and us messing up isn't because we're all imperfect somehow. We all have flaws. Every single one of us has flaws. You know what I mean? My mom had a flaw like 22 years ago, so I want to die. JK, kinda. But there is no correct answer to religion, is what I'm trying to say. And so just be careful what you guys watch. Just be careful who you guys listen to, study. One thing that really pushed me away from being a Christian is my dad saying you should listen to K-Love, and he was talking about like this 90-day challenge thing or whatever on K-Love, that if you listen to K-Love for 90 days, then your life is going to start to change. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. How does music itself change your point of view, for one? And also number two, I don't want to listen to K-Love. I like my own type of music. I like people like this, Kim. I also like Kim. This band I really like. You know what I mean? I just don't want to listen to K-Love, and then so when he kept on saying listen to K-Love, he wasn't like forcing me to listen to K-Love. He was just recommending it to me. And then also when I went to church, I wasn't getting what I was expecting. Like I said, I mentioned before, but I don't have a lot of friends down here. And one thing I was looking forward to when going to church was making new friends, preferably my age. And I didn't end up getting that. So I just ended up leaving that church, and I haven't went back since. And also it's like, here's the thing, right? I love God. You know what I mean? I believe that God or Jesus is the reason that I'm alive. For those of you who don't know, I'm not gonna say exactly what I had, but I do have a heart condition right now. I do believe that he is the reason why I am here. I mean, questionable choice, but you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm not bashing religion. I'm not bashing Christianity. And it was also weird because when I stepped away from church, I guess my dad was talking to a couple people from church, and they thought the devil got a hold of me. And I'm like, dude, are you for real? The devil didn't get a hold of me. The devil didn't do nothing. Now, I believe he can get you when you're more vulnerable. I mean, that is one thing I can kind of see. Now, I wasn't vulnerable, but at the same time, I was stepping back because I don't like having to... There's certain things that I also am that I just can't be as a Christian. Like, I can't be empathetic towards other people. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If you tell me a story and you tell me if you tell me something like, if you basically tell me a story that I can't relate to, I'm gonna be like, damn, that's crazy. I mean, I'm not the most empathetic person, you know what I mean? So, I mean, sorry, not sorry. I just can't do some things that, like, for example, last Christmas, I wanted to do a soup kitchen. I wanted to join a soup kitchen, right? And feed the homeless, right? I had never done that before in my entire life, and it felt weird for me to do it. And it's a good thing to do, but at the same time, I just felt weird doing it. So I can't do something like that. I can't find it within myself to find that kind of kindness that other people have. And so that is why I can't consider myself Christian, because you have to be Christian, or you have to be kind in order to be a Christian. And so I was talking about earlier, just because you go to church that you're a Christian, that doesn't matter. It matters what your beliefs are. It matters what's up here. You know what I mean? Because there are conservatives that are Christian, there are liberals that are Christian. And so if you think about it, why are those two people on the opposite side of the political spectrum when they're supposed to be on the same side when it comes to religion? That doesn't make any sense. So people can take the Bible and do what they want with it, which is what you're supposed to do with the Bible, right? You're supposed to read all these stories, and you're supposed to take something out of what the Bible is saying in that particular story that you're reading. But when people interpret it in all types of ways, that's the mailman. I know God saved a lot of people's life, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you owe anyone anything, you know what I mean? He did die on the cross for us. He did die on the cross, and he sacrificed himself so we don't have to sin for ourselves, right? But at the same time, we can't be... I don't think you should... So other than the law, other than like physical law, you should not be able to live your life by a certain set of rules. You can live your life however you want. Now, how it is up to you. If you decide to be a person that's super good, does all types of good in the world, so be it. That's you. But if you also decide to be a person that's super bad and like, I want to do this, and you just want to become a bad person, then that is it. That's just how it is. It sucks, but at the same time, that's just how it is. We as human beings understand that there are gonna be people that are gonna be assholes and dipshits and all types of bad people out in the world. That's just how it is, and we can't not live in a world where we just don't accept it. And so, like I said many times throughout this video, you can be a part of whatever religion you run. If you believe that the religion that you are in is the right one, then do it. But at the same time, you also got to understand how that affects you, the people you're around, and you just got to understand what you're getting into when you go into a certain religion. There are people that go into Christianity thinking like, oh, I was one of those people. There are people who go into religion thinking like, oh, religion is just gonna change my life. Now, it does for a lot of people, but in reality for me, I've had God in my life before. He's blessed me, but at the same time, look where I am now. And I guarantee there are going to be some people in this video who are going to type under the comments saying, oh, you're going to hell and you don't believe in Jesus and you don't believe this and that. I believe in Jesus. I clarify that right now. If you believe I don't believe in Jesus, then you obviously haven't been listening to what I've been saying about me going to hell. I go where I go. If I'm going to heaven, so be it. If I'm going to hell, so be it. But kind of a longer and more serious video. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. And yeah.